because I'm making most of my Embark fabric projects around the same time, I'm not sure which ones I'm going to get edited and posted first. So I'm assuming that you've probably already seen the rosette brooch project that I did with the extra rosettes. And I did do one out of the Embark fabric. So hopefully you are familiar with this technique. If not, I hope that you will be after this. So I am going to tear some fabric from salvage edge to salvage edge. And for these, I did pretty thin. If you want them fluffier, you want to do like 2 inches and fold them in half. But I did pretty thin ones. So I'm going to go ahead and cut just a little over 1 inch. And then you just tear all the way down. And you'll need a couple of these. So you want to make your tears and let's do one more just for good measure. All right, so that should be 12. Now, one other thing, when I'm working with fabric, if I'm sewing it and it's something that I'm going to be cleaning, putting through the washer, in the dryer, things like that, I always pre-wash my fabric. So if anything like table runners, tablecloths, pillow covers, placemats, any of that, I'm definitely washing it. This has not been washed because this is for crafting and it is not going to be washed. So I don't bother washing that fabric. So don't worry about that. Okay. And as I said in my last one, you don't want the strings, but you also don't want the strings to be laying around if you have little ones or pets, especially because I know for my cats that they like to play with the strings and then they end up ingesting them and it can cause a blockage, which can be big vet bills. So I pull all of this off and then I won't make you watch me do all of that, but then I make sure that I throw this in the very bottom of the trash can that they're not going to get into, or go to a trash can that has a lid that they're not going to get into, not one of the little ones that sometimes I have next to me when I'm working. So I'm going to go ahead and take the strings off of the rest of these. I'm going to heat up my glue gun, and when we come back, I will make a rosette with you, and then we'll put together our frame. I have all the strips torn and de-stringed, for lack of a better term, and then I took one of them and I cut them in half so that I have 2 pieces that are the same length. I have one of the ones that I made earlier here for size reference. I'm going to try and keep them all about the same size. I have my hot glue gun heated and ready to go. All right, change of plans. I got started and decided that these were too big. So these are the medium-sized rosettes that I've made as I've been making. I made a really large one and then 2 medium-sized ones for the brooches, but I think these are too big, and so it's only taking about, I can measure this and I'll tell you how many inches. I think it's about 12. Oh. So 12 would probably be good. This is 11 inches. And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm rolling it up and glue gunning it as I go. I just made a much smaller version of this, kind of tucking that little thing on the back. And I think that's going to be much better. So this is the tiny rosette. Well, for instance, this took a little bit different turn with the smaller rosettes. I did want to take a minute to go ahead and show you how to make the smaller rosette as opposed to the larger ones. So I have had cats with me this whole time. Patriot was up here. I have Leota now in here. Hello, sweet girl. Thanks for joining us. So let me show you how I have been making all of these smaller ones. And just bear with me because Leota's going to show me out through the whole thing because she thinks I need to stop. What I do is I start at one end. I do a little bit of glue in there. Yeah. Such a good girl. We do love you, Leota. Thanks for always joining us. All right, and then you kind of want to like fold it up a little bit and just start rolling it. And then I put a tiny bit of hot glue in there. You want to be careful of your fingers, and somehow, oh, there it is. I looked all over for that. I thought I lost it. Okay. Now, so you go ahead and roll it up just a little bit, and then it's going to get all over my fingernails. That's the way it goes. Then I roll it one more time, and you can see it's kind of pooching out here a little bit, but then you fold it in half and you roll it or twist it, whatever you want to call it. You start twisting and rolling, and then I hold it with my fingers over here. I'm going to put just the tiniest bit, and where I rolled it, I go ahead and put it in that. And then I think that was a Leota here I got in there. Yeah, that was yours. Okay. Put a little bit. Okay. And then roll it into it. And then you can push down to kind of flatten it and to get the glue to stick all over it. So see, I kind of flattened it just a little bit. And you want to keep making sure that it's folded in half, and you keep twisting it the same way. You don't want to change directions. And this one I'm kind of, oh, that's a different meow. Is that yep, that's Exitencio now. We're getting them all in here today for this tutorial. Hello, handsome boy. Okay, I'm gonna hold it here. They've been fed, they've been loved. They just like to join us. Okay. I know. Okay. You're such a good boy. Thank you for being patient. We're Almost done, hang on. Okay, now you can see I have just a little bit left. So what I've been doing is twisting it and then attaching this little area here and then this area down as the flap on the back. So I'm gonna hold that up. I'm gonna get the Leota hair out. I'm gonna try and make sure that that glue is not on top, so you wanna twist it. And then you can see it's there. And let's go ahead and put a little glue back here. Then you'll push that down into it. Again, watching your fingers, or if you get some of those cool finger things. I got them, but I don't know. It's hard to work with these. But anyway, you can get the little finger savers. And there you go. You have a little rosette. That's the back. Well, friends, I decided before I finish the last few that I would just show you how I'm going to attach these to this, and then we'll wrap it up quickly so that we don't make this too long. Really, basically, all I'm going to do is put some hot glue down, and I want to make sure that they fit by putting them on there first. Making sure that you have the back to the frame. Then Leota's back. It's just rotating cats today. This one and this one. And that's pretty much it. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just sticking them on there. And then I'll go ahead and do the same thing down here. I don't want to do that until I finish this side though, because I want to make sure that these are all just slightly different and some of them are a little bit bigger. And so if it doesn't quite make it to the end, then sometimes I switch it out for one that is maybe I can turn to make it a little bit longer so that we can reach the corner. So it's that kind of thing. Also, I'm trying to make sure that I have some of the lighter pink ones mixed in with the red ones, mixed in with the ones with the black, so that they're not all the same part of the pattern next to each other. So I'm trying to also mix in some of that, because see, these are all very similar. So I know I'm almost done. So I would want to mix in maybe a red one in here. I've got a black one here. And then I could go back to some of the pink. And so see how I'm trying to kind of mix and match them also. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and then I'll finish off the frame just like I showed you. Attach all the rest of them with some glue, and then I'll get my little sentiment in there. And this project will be in the books. All right, well, here is the finished product of the rosette frame. So if you remember, I got the frame from Hobby Lobby for $6.99. It was already wooden and distressed, and this was already painted. The panel was painted and distressed. I didn't have to do anything to it. I think the most time-consuming thing was probably rolling all the rosettes. I just put on one of my favorite YouTube channels where they go into Walt Disney World parks and you know, do live streams, and I enjoy that. So I just put on a long one and roll the rosettes. It probably took me about an hour and a half to roll all the rosettes. They're not difficult, just a little time consuming. And then once I got them all rolled, I laid them out on the frame the way I wanted. And then it probably took me about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, to go ahead and glue all of these down. Once they were glued down with hot glue, I just put a little bit of glue, pushed it down into the hot glue, and then worked my way around. Once they were all adhered and cool, then I went through and I would kind of move them and make sure that they were secure on the frame. If they were a little wobbly, then I would go ahead and add a little bit more hot glue just to make sure that the frame was nice and secure. The letters, I know that I changed the sentiment. It was going to be a little bit longer, but with this alphanumeric bulletin, it's such a large letter that I needed to change the sentiment. And so I made be the change, since I was going to change, but you know, it has a deeper meaning. So I went ahead with that. This is just black craft stock from the Ideology line and the moss green cardstock craft stock from the Ideology line. I cut the letters twice. They have an outline that cuts with the letter that's in the middle. I left the black outline on the black letter, and then I attached the mossy green outline, and I was left with all of these letters, the central ones in green, I could use for another project if I want. Then I attached them all with Distress Collage Medium, tied a little bit of the cigar box fabric around the top, and I was done. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate your comments, your likes. Really, I'm so grateful that you come and even watch the tutorial. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, you know, please comment in the comments for this video or on my blog at playswellwithpaper.blogspot.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And I want to wish you a very creative day.